You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Get ready for the greatest roast of all time, the Roast of Tom Brady, a Netflix live event happening May 5th. Hosted by Kevin Hart, the 7-time world champion gets his cleats held to the fire by famous friends and frenemies on an unforgettable night where everything is fair game. Tune in on May 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Roast of Tom Brady, live only on Netflix.
Mother's Day is around the corner. Find the perfect gift for the mom in your life with a stunning piece of jewelry from Blue Nile. From timeless pearls to dazzling gemstones, Blue Nile has something she'll adore. Need it fast? Most items can ship overnight. Plus, enjoy guaranteed free shipping and returns. Don't miss our special Mother's Day deals. Save big on the season's most beautiful trends. For a limited time, get up to 50% off by going to BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
What a perfect symbolic ending to LeBron's Laker career. Possibly. Not the loss, just that at the end of the loss, he dominates the landscape by giving a non-answer to a question that is the only non-answer he can give. That will result in us talking about LeBron after he's been eliminated and other teams are headed to the second round because the league has been taken over by other people for the first time in a long time. It's a welcome change, but in the short term, it's going to be bad for the league. Not in the long term, but ratings this year, this is not good that all your stars are out and the league has been taken over and the next revolution is here. In the long term, it'll be good, but not this year. But before we go any further, Greg Cote damaged his face considerably. I don't know that I've had a friend, maybe Izzy Gutierrez, in my entire life that has had a face as busted up as Greg Cote's looked yesterday. And we have a song to commemorate. You love Jimmy Buffett. You recently saw a memorial concert at the Hollywood Bowl because of how much you love Jimmy Buffett. So I imagine you will love this song.
Tripping up. It's these deck shoes. This is a lovely bruise. Or maybe I fainted. I woke up confused. Honey, this is a lovely bruise. Yeah, baby, this is a lovely bruise. Yeah, honey, this is a lovely bruise.
Phantom of the Opera mask that you are presently wearing, you bought for how much on Amazon?
I think it was one of those weird numbers, $6.39 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, but next day delivery, man, shows up in a little package, and when the package has my name on it, it just makes my heart flutter with joy because 99% of the packages we get have my wife's name on it.
It does feel great to get an Amazon package, like to track the package from the warehouse to your house. It's fantastic.
I feel special,
right?
Honestly.
I know.
It's why Bezos is the richest man in the world.
God bless him.
Even after giving up 50% of his stuff. I mean,
I was still reacting to the God bless him part, not the...
worth every penny of it. Convenience, man. Mm-hmm. He's selling convenience.
Look at you.
I'm telling you, and this thing, it's as sturdy as flimsy plastic can possibly be.
That's right.
We will have a reveal in a second here, but let's go back to yesterday because it has healed some since yesterday. Let's look at the picture that we have of Greg Cote that has been now, it's been a day, and you've gotten all the clicks that you wanted from embargoing the information on what happened. You threatened to take Cris Carter out of your will if we took the clicks that you got from revealing how it is your eye got that way. But can you tell us now, for the people who have not heard the Greg Cote show featuring Greg Cote?
Fine.
Yeah, it's all over, man. It's all over the country. Well, I took a spill. I took a bad spill, and I face planted on asphalt.
Oof.
And that's what happened.
Did you feel it coming? Did you feel?
No.
Like you just passed out from 1 second to the next without feeling like a wooziness or a lightheadedness?
It was a coughing
Nothing like
fit.
that.
He had a coughing fit, so he stepped outside like he does. And
I'm pretty much done the chronic cough thing, but I did have a little bit of a coughing fit just before that. But I was not aware of fainting, of passing out, of falling. 1 minute I'm walking to my car with my heavy bowling bag in my right hand, and the next minute I'm down on the floor, barely conscious, and I say barely conscious because I'm supine and hearing what sounded like disembodied, distant voices hovering over me. And thank God one of them was Christopher's voice.
That's something worth thanking God for. The detail here that was here now that would have been worth giving the clicks to the Greg Cote show featuring Greg Cote because of how truly pathetic a detail it is to have in the middle of this. You walking somewhere with a bag with your bowling ball.
Yes. 14 pounds.
For your...
Actually, I take that back, 15.
Wow.
That's a big one.
That's a big ball.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can.
The ball okay?
You know what? The ball's okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
For your weekly bowling match that represents the last vestiges of any athleticism or competitiveness that you still have in your soul.
It's a league bowling thing. Christopher and I, it's a family league. It's Christopher and I, his father-in-law, Michael, and then a family friend. It's a wonder. I look forward to that weekly bowling league like none other.
Dan, that's unfair. Have you seen this man kick field goals? I mean,
Thank you.
True.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stugotz.
I have, and he hurt himself.
7 years ago.
And he hurt himself.
There's nothing you can do to prevent injury.
I know, but that would end his athletic career. I said the last vestiges of his athletic career, and he comes back with let me make a correction here from 7 years ago when Greg injured himself trying to kick a field goal that ended his athletic career.
Yeah, but he's still out there bowling.
And bowling requires athleticism. Believe me.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Does bowling require athleticism? Believe me.
That's
Norm Duke.
Show.
Yeah.
That's right. The Duke.
How'd you bowl that day? I think that the most important question.
How did I bowl? My bowling game is mediocre.
You're about a 150, right?
I'm about a 150. I am exactly a 150 average. And, I'm capable of bowling a 200. I'm also capable of bowling a 112. So I'm all over the map. Very inconsistent.
Cris Carter, can you please play the Lord song of the last time where we buried Greg Cote's entire career as an athlete?
I've never seen Cote in the flesh, but he sounds like he's 80 years old. I know he's not proud of how he dresses, in an 80s shirt and a 70s haircut. But on the show he's like knuckleball, curveball, I can hit a home run. Kershaw, Verlander, don't matter who is throwing, I don't care. I'll hit them 400 feet in air. And then Greg Cote's like, I can take D, Wade, and Bosch on the double team, find the open man, and even if they're guarding me, I don't care. I'm draining threes from everywhere, and I can kick field goals. Like my idol Ford Revis, I'll hit from 50 yards at least. Even though I'm missing PATs, I'm good enough to place wagers. And win the money from Batard, and then I think I just pulled my quad.
You did actually pull your quad, right?
I did, yeah.
That was an injury that required what doctor's care, did it not?
Well, they took me into the trainer's room at St. Thomas Aquinas.
Cris Carter heckled you.
He was
Cris
mocking
Carter
you.
did heckle me. You're
CC,
right.
yeah.
I'd forgotten about that. Nice detail there. But no, that quickly healed.
I'm going to tell the audience I'm putting all the Heat and Panthers stuff in the local hour. You will find it an hour from now. At the moment, I want to cover some of the stuff from last night.
So local hour is officially an hour from now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just,
That's official.
It's been everywhere.
How dare CC mock you? What do you think he bowls now?
All he does is catch touchdowns. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Does he bowl? I don't know. I challenge him. I challenge Cris Carter to a bowl off.
Wow, wait, hold on. Look straight at the camera and do that. You'll find it.
I challenge him to a bowl off. If you're listening, Chris.
Well, here, just hold on a second. Let's see. Which
He
camera?
looks so
which
menacing in
camera?
that.
Yeah.
Here,
I think it's
which-
in the wooden thing here.
All right, right here. This wooden
That's
thing right
it.
here.
No.
Go ahead.
There we go. Right there.
Now, you talk to Cris Carter so that we can send this to him.
Cris Carter, I want you on a bowling lane. You and me, man to man.
Wait a minute.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. That sounds like you've offered to
Hold on.
have him, to take him, to desire him on a
What?
bowling
I
lane.
am going to kick his ass on a bowling lane.
Kick.
That's right.
Because it sounded like you wanted him to lay down on the bowling lane.
You got a dirty mind.
Let's try it again, just in case he misunderstood.
One more
Yeah.
time.
CC.
Take two.
Yeah.
Cris Carter.
That's
you,
the wrong
You're looking
camera.
at the wrong camera.
Cris Carter, you mocked me when I pulled a hamstring trying to kick field goals at St. Thomas Aquinas, and now I challenge you to a game of bowling. I have no idea why, but I challenge you to a game of bowling, just you and I, $1,000 to the winner.
Whoa!
Wait, what? Who's
Did I
fronting
just
that?
say that?
Who's fronting that?
Yeah, Dan's going to front me on that.
No.
All
No?
he does is throw strikes.
Mr. Meadowlark. Mr. Meadowlark is going to put up my $1,000 bill.
Do you guys do the same thing when you hear the name? Well, he called it Fuad Reves. I've always pronounced it Fuad Reves.
Same, yes.
Right.
But do you guys go the same place mentally than I do? Because there's only one place I go with the when I hear the name Fuad Reves, and it is not football, field goal kicking, or being good at anything that he was good at that I knew about. It's something he was good at that I didn't know about, which is that the Vikings had a defensive tackle, John Randall, that everyone in the league was kind of scared of. He was terrifying. He would celebrate his sacks by crawling around and pretending to urinate like a dog on the quarterback. And John Randall was a menace in his own locker room. And one day he went after Fuad Reves,
Yes.
who then ended up putting
Tomato.
him in like a figure.
Do you pronounce the Z? Actually, I think it's just Fuad Revet.
Huh.
What is he, French?
I don't know how to pronounce this man's name.
I put a Z on there.
Fuad Reves.
Reves.
Fuad Reves.
Chavez Ravine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Regardless,
Thank you.
John Randall was locked up in the locker room in a way that he had to tap out because the kicker. Oh, you have that story. Excellent. I didn't know you had that story.
I heard on Friday from an informed source that Fuad Reves, the kicker, reduced him to tears in the Vikings locker room. Fuad, true or untrue?
Well, let me say this. It is true to a certain degree. It's true in that he always liked to just jump on people from behind and just give them a hard time. And he did that to me, and being that I was a former wrestler, and I was able just to wrestle my way into putting him into a lock, into a position that he could not get out of until he was able to beg for me to let him go. So needless to say, from that day on, a lot of my buddies just gave him a really hard time.
Begged. Made John Randall
So awesome.
beg.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Mike. As you know, sports are a bit crazy right now. Kind of feels like everything is happening all at once, and you have to make some decisions to prioritize if you want to support your team or go out and see some of these games. Well, I've got a recommendation for you. As someone that loves sports and loves attending live sporting events, you're always hunting the secondary market for hard-to-find tickets. I've been out there in those streets, and I know the best possible place for me and you is Game Time. It's an incredible app that is so upfront with its pricing. It's an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Game Time, tons of last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Mother's Day is around the corner. Find the perfect gift for the mom in your life with a stunning piece of jewelry from Blue Nile. From timeless pearls to dazzling gemstones, Blue Nile has something she'll adore. Need it fast? Most items can ship overnight. Plus, enjoy guaranteed free shipping and returns. Don't miss our special Mother's Day deals. Save big on the season's most beautiful trends. For a limited time, get up to 50% off by going to BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Don Batard.
He called me on my own podcast. He called me full of shit, claiming that I'm faking interest in the solar eclipse.
Well,
and
you do this. You love to just get excited about everything.
Okay, Junior.
Stugotz.
I had to school you and explain to you.
He was going to take you to Augusta.
When I was 17 years old, Alan Sherry and I used to haunt the Bueller Planetarium.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Let's go to last night, Stugotz, because a handful of interesting things happened. During the day, a report comes out that the Lakers are open to drafting Bronny to keep LeBron around.
Funny.
It is funny. He's going to be able to make a decision as the oldest player in the league that gives him options and allows him still to do what he wants to do because still he is somehow his own economy. And then they lose last night to Denver. Denver is a worthy champion, and I would say to you, LeBron James lost last night, but LeBron James doesn't generally deserve to lose. His team is very good. He's still very good. He ran into a champion last night, and the champion finished him because Jamal Murray is now getting into these situations where he's been in enough of these games that he could be the second option that makes the shot because everybody's worried about the other guy. And when I say the other guy, Stugotz, I want to ask the group here. Tom Brady's the standard in all of sports for people had no idea how good he was going to be. How could no one who's an expert at football know that was going to be good? But I think this is the standard in basketball now. This guy in Denver,
Jokic,
not throughout sports, but in basketball, a guy who made everyone look like a fool because how could you not know that he was this good? How could nobody know that there was a guy who didn't deserve to be drafted in the first round, who was going to become as dominant as anyone you've ever seen? And in the game last night, he's the guy you know is going to win. You know his team is going to win because he makes excellence look boring. I'm asking you, Manu Ginobili used to be someone like this, who made it the Hall of Fame from the second round. The Spurs were said to be good at this, but I don't think I can find anything in basketball that vaguely resembles close to, what do you mean one of the best players ever? Nobody had any idea he was going to be any good. Nobody had any idea that he'd be a starter in the league. Like, how is that even fundamentally possible when you have experts analyzing sports all over the place?
Even the Manu comps, while I see why you go there, it was just a different time in the NBA where it was harder to sign those guys. So Jokic was more of a true eval at his draft spot. It's considering the resources that go into NBA and how just different it is to scout that. You could stack up where he was drafted. It's not quite Tom Brady's 6th round tier, but it's actually pretty close when you consider how much the NBA has developed their scouting arms.
But to Dan's point, this is a 2nd round pick. It's not Dennis Rodman. He has a different skill set. And now that I'm thinking about it, how did every team miss on it? Like the fact that he might turn into one of the great players we've ever seen because that size with that skill set.
Got drafted, though. The game was also very clearly headed in a different direction, and you could understand how people weren't exactly sure how he'd fit into it. Now he fits into it like a glove.
Well, when you say the sport was headed in a different way or different place positionless, this part's fascinating to me. The Boston Celtics suffered an injury last night that will end them if he cannot play against the teams in the West, because the 4 top seeds in the West can all beat the Celtics, but the Celtics are better with Porzingis. But they need Porzingis. They have
Horford.
They have Horford, but they've got a real size problem. If they go into the deeper into the postseason and have to face Denver, have to face Jokic with a size problem. Like, you don't want Harper.
Someone ends up beating the Nuggets. It'd be shocking to me. Just given what we've seen recently, no one's really had an answer for him. How do you go about stopping them? I'm asking because I'm genuinely curious, because I don't pay that close attention to the sport to know or even comprehend what the book is on stopping Jokic.
This year's team is actually better than last year's team that won the NBA championship. And the reason I say that, Mike, you and I have talked about this guy for a while, but he's finally coming into his own. Michael Porter Jr. is the reason the Nuggets are a better Dan.
No, I disagree
He was
with you.
so good last night, and he's been so good all season.
This is where I disagree with you, okay? Michael Porter was good all of last season and then was the worst starter in the finals. That team is not as good as it was last year because Bruce Brown and Jeff Green matter, and their bench is light and young. That team isn't as good as it was last year. It is still very good. Minnesota can beat them. Can you guys look up for me the box scores of the last series Minnesota and Denver played against each other last season? Because Minnesota is also a good deal better. And Anthony Edwards is here for stardom. And Rudy Gobert does have the kind of size that somehow doesn't get taken off of the court now in the first round. And Minnesota can absolutely beat Denver. But Denver last night, what they did with Jamal Murray, had LeBron James after the game. I want to play this sound because, Stugotz, this question is so easy to answer if you actually have made your mind up and don't want to create the hysteria that he's going to create by specifically answering it this way. This might be the end of his career. This might be the Laker career. And this might be what it sounds like, because this is what the endings have sounded like every time he leaves.
Tonight, was there any thought at all that, this could have been your last game with the Lakers?
I'm not going to answer that. Appreciate it.
What a perfect final act.
Well done. Yeah.
The pause said more than the no comment. The no comment said more than
smirk.
There were 3 things he did there where it's like, yeah, if I'm going to go into my offseason, I'm going to do the move where I neuter some of the criticism on television tomorrow morning by getting them to talk about the transaction and my next stop. I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit on how much they criticize me for leaving or for losing, because I'm going to titillate them with leaving. Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's such a good move. It's a veteran move by him.
And almost immediately come the leaked reports, the Lakers are open to drafting Bronny and giving LeBron what he wants at this stage in his career. And I got to say, just because you're accomplished and you want to bring your family along, that's kind of whack, no?
Yeah, but it's the ultimate power, like, the ultimate flex.
Just you're long in the tooth. You've had a nice career in your industry, and you insist on bringing a family member around. It's just, I could never.
Mike, he's 40 years old. He's going to be 40 years old. If he could convince an NBA team to draft his son, who has no business being drafted in the first round, that's the ultimate flex.
But Mike's right, though. It's unprofessional. Mike's right. You shouldn't do that. No
one thinks he's as good as you do because you're just related. No one wants to see this.
You're biased just because you love the person. It's not about their qualifications. It's not about merit. That's supposed to be a meritocracy. Sports is supposed to be a meritocracy.
LeBron has talked for 10 years about wanting to play with his child.
Yep.
You shouldn't work with
Tom Izzo played his son.
Father.
I mean, I agree. It's nepotism. You shouldn't work with your son.
You got here a little late, Greg. We were already doing that.
It was really more of a barb at Dan.
No, I took it. I absorbed it.
The reverse Nepo.
And then I realized I saw it was directed at me, but while I did it, I was staring at Chris.
I was like, why am I on the camera right now?
But last night, Stugotz, I'm telling you, the Lakers are good, and he's still good. Like that's.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he was really good. He was really good down the stretch,
Yep.
going to the cup, getting Aaron Gordon out of position, and taking advantage of that, going to the line, doing the LeBron things, and you realize that even if it's not Jokic making the buckets on the other end, his presence just absorbs so many bodies out of there that Aaron Gordon can win a one-on-one against LeBron James and rip it away from him, or he can go up and get it himself and turn a mediocre possession into one that they get 2 to 3 points on. And Jamal Murray's finally... And he's getting healthier and healthier with each passing season. I don't know if he's ever going to be bubble Jamal, but he's exactly what they need to be that guy down the
He wasn't
stretch.
supposed to play yesterday. He was begging him to play. He should have sat out.
Yep, hit the game winner. I have some advice for LeBron James. Me and Greg were talking before the show. I think this is a great final act because, Dan, when you think back at his career and you think about what he's chasing and who he's chasing, and that's Michael Jordan, of course, LeBron has won championships in the South. He has the South covered. He has won in the Midwest. He has Middle America covered. He has won out west with L.A. He has the West Coast covered. Whoever loses between the Knicks and Celtics, okay, in the Eastern Conference Championship is where LeBron goes. Because if he goes to one of those teams, okay, and he helps them win a title, Boston, can you imagine? He wins one in L.A. and one in Boston. Perfect. Or the Knicks.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I think people, Dan, he would have the entire country covered, and I think people might start saying that he was better than Michael Jordan.
Yes.
How about that?
Stugotz is right. The king of LeBron, the king of New York.
Yeah.
That's the apex of a mountainous career.
Yeah.
I just want to be. I want to be clear on Stugotz's takes on this because he can be
It's advice, that's all.
wildly inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want him on the Knicks when I asked you 6 weeks ago. You simply flatly stunned me by saying you didn't want him on the Knicks. Hold on. Hold on.
Well, that was then, though.
Just hold on. Okay. Yes, that was then. And now you are saying, I've been saying, meaning you, for the entire time LeBron's been alive, he's not as good as Michael Jordan, but he will be if he comes to my team.
No, not his team per se. Mm-hmm. The region.
Well, no.
Region.
Yeah, but New York.
He said he tossed Boston.
No, but Dan's right. I was thinking Knicks. But he has to win one.
That's right.
They have to lose, and he has to win one.
So only winning one for you will make him better.
Winning one for me is like winning 10.
That's right.
Don Batard.
All right, we got to go back out there. That was big. Wake him up.
He doesn't want to be bothered anymore. Now it's getting tense because he didn't need that as a result. He needs something that happens.
You can see him mother effing.
No, he says,
"Can we bother?
Yes.
Are we bothering you right now?"
Turn on your microphone, Greg.
My microphone's on.
Stugotz.
Paint the scene.
Paint the scene is I got to go to work. Good night.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Pablo Torre is going to be here in a moment. He is tackling a topic on the next Pablo Torre Finds Out that I believe everyone in this room will be interested in. As soon as I present to you the subject matter, I happen to be talking about the thing he's doing in the kitchen with a few of my friends recently. It's a story from 1973 in sports that I would love to happen today.
Wow.
Just to see how people reacted, because I am certain you guys are going to be interested in the subject matter. At some point during the show today, we are going to reveal whatever it is that Greg Cote's face looks like now. He wants us to do it now because he's finding the $6.39 purchase on his face to be uncomfortable. And so he wants to take it off now. Should we just get it over with? Because we've got a couple of, I'm going to say, anticlimactic announcements to make around here today because Stugotz has botched another thing and he's taking advantage of the fact that nobody is in charge around here anymore, that all of a sudden Mike Ryan has left his position to just snort hockey all the time. And now Stugotz, he ran Whitty out of here because Whitty was just tired loved everything about the job except trying to corral Stugotz. He's going to make Billy fundamentally insane.
I mean, Whitty would wake up one morning expecting me to be in studio and I'd be at Shoreline Amphitheater watching Dead and Company.
That's part of the problem. And so last week, because he needed a travel day to get to not Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Detroit-ish, yeah.
Detroit.
He needed, that would have actually been a better way to do it. Detroit would have been a better way to do it than the way, I know that you did it parenthetically by putting the entire Troy in the way Tony did it, but the way that Greg just said it would have been the way to do it, just Detroit.
I'm there for you.
Like a faux Detroit.
Funny. Yeah.
Detroit adjacent. But Stugotz needed 2 days to get to not Detroit.
Yep.
So he had to be out Wednesday's show and Thursday's show. And before leaving Wednesday, he pulls me aside. Me, I'm not the planner, and tells me all the different ways that the book has to be announced last week and reveal the cover, and he's not going to be here and do it last week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it last week.
You did?
And now he wants to do it again today because he says today is the reveal of the book cover, and I just don't think this is the way to make announcements.
You weren't supposed to do it last week. I was just checking on inventory. I was making sure the cover was here. I was making sure the book is here, and it's here. And I was going to make an announcement. And so you weren't supposed to do it last week, but I appreciate that you did it, and you're about to do it again. How about that? A little bang for my buck.
Why would I do it last week unless you told me? Like, why would I announce something with the cover and formally and bring it out and do the whole thing if you hadn't told me to do that while you were away? And except you weren't supposed to do it so early, and today was the day we were supposed to.
I was waiting for a co-author to be here with me, and I have one in studio. His name is Greg Cote.
Thank you.
Still waiting on your forward, by the way.
It's a great looking book.
Thank you.
And
It is.
That cover is spectacular.
Yeah,
what
it's
did you have to pay the league to license the Lombardi Trophy?
We mentioned this last week, Stugotz. We think you have a liability issue here that you don't know about, that you've just done some things that you can't just sell as if it's
I don't
yours.
know how you got a licensing agreement with the 4 major sports.
I think the good people at Random House who have been at this for quite some time, they know what they're doing. I mean, I have a book deal with Random House.
That's true.
That would argue the other point then.
Plus, if you look real closely,
fair, Billy.
If you look real closely on the football trophy there, it says Lombardi Trophy. Like they get around it by just slightly misspelling Lombardi,
Detroit,
which is brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Vince Lombardi.
Also, that's not scale on the trophies, but that's nitpicking.
You're going to critique the cover?
Well, it's just we all know that Lord Stanley is much larger than the Lombardi Trophy. Now, if you want to make the Lombardi Trophy the same size as Lord Stanley, I'm all for that, but it's just not accurate.
What's the announcement? Is it just what the cover looks like?
So the announcement is now through Thursday, okay? If you go to StugotzBook.com and you pre-order the book, you're going to get an autographed copy. You're also going to get a special insert, a decal. It's very cool. Instead of a bookworm, it's a book snake. How about that?
Oh, that's very clever.
Yep.
If the World Series trophy were the same size as Lord Stanley, it would have impaled somebody by now.
That is true.
You're hung up on this.
It would have poked somebody's eye out. It's just
Right.
there's a reason why practically it is the size that it is. But for your personal record book, unless in your personal record book all the trophies are all the same size.
Billy had a great idea yesterday, and perhaps, I don't know, I wish I would have done this, but all the people that contributed, Greg Cote being one of them, Mina Kimes, Tim Kirchin, I thank all of them, Stan Van Gundy. Billy wants all their names on the cover of the book, but he wants them in order. Like the biggest name at the top, the smallest name at the bottom.
Biggest name is in most famous?
Yes.
I suggested to him that he says by Stugotz and then just a series of ands, and they just continue to get smaller as they go down on the front of the book so that it looks like it was by which it was by all of these people.
Yeah.
And then you're also like going to upset whoever it is their name is last.
That's a great idea. That's a better cover than the one that we're announcing.
Right, but that's a nice cover, though. Right. No one asked, Billy.
Stugotz, that's better than this. Are you sure?
Well, perhaps I'll find a place for it.
That's a funny joke to go. And
I know.
Is the smallest name? Are you going to insult somebody by making the smallest name the most famous name? Like if it said Dan Le Batard as the smallest name, or Greg Cote, is like what's the funniest joke to make the final name in the smallest print?
Well, that's what we were working on: is who would be the smallest name. Stugotz decided that
his name. Yeah,
he was going to have Andre Dawson be the smallest name.
No. He's the MVP of this book. I am telling you. you. I wrote a chapter about how Andre Dawson has absolutely no reasons to have an MVP. You cannot have an MVP and be in a last place team. You can't do it. And so I called my friend Andre and I told him my take and I asked him to write a rebuttal. And did he ever? Well, he took a bat to my head, Dan.
Everything there is true except for the part where Stugotz says, I wrote a chapter.
Well, what did you say to Andre Dawson?
They're my takes.
What did you say to him?
Also the my friend part.
Well, I said, Andre, I need you to do me a favor. I wrote a chapter. It's called...
No. How did you thank him when he sent you that lovely chapter?
Well, I sent him I told him he's not the real MVP. Like I said, you're the MVP of the book, but you're still not the MVP of the National League for the Cubs. That's what I said to him.
Billy, can I know that...
Hawk got right back to me.
I know that we have a long history of Stugotz just doing truly, shameless.
Felt like Billy was setting him up for something.
For a story
there,
he told me yesterday, which is he said that he told me, like, oh, thanks, Andre. I love this. You did a great job. Also, you still shouldn't be the MVP.
Well, that's what I did. Yes, that's what I just said. I mean, he's not the MVP. I mean, that team won like 47 games.
Hold on.
Thank you for writing a chapter on it.
Hold on. Let me just explain.
Dan, you can't be an MVP on a last place team.
Hold on. Let me explain to the audience.
Write a chapter.
Did you send him a carafe of embalming fluid to thank him?
Let me explain to the audience what just happened. Mike Ryan and Billy are tossing to Stugotz a story that says all over it for everyone to see, hey, Stugotz, be Stugotz and tell the Stugotz story. And Stugotz forgets how to be that Stugotz because he's too busy being
I'm an author.
This Stugotz, famous author of a book, and getting to the story I was getting to, of all your shameless acts, and there are legions of them. I don't know that there's one that runs through me quite as icky as the idea that I'm pretty sure the only time you talked to Andre Dawson or in any capacity was at my wedding, and that you asked him to do this for no pay while insulting him is just one of the great shameless acts. And now that you will profit off it while not paying him and call him your friend, it's delightful book snakery. Everybody go to StugotzBook.com where you can get all the kind of true stories told by others about Stugotz.
Well, thank you for the great promotion, Dan, and the kind promotion. I appreciate it. He said yes. He did it with a smile on his face, and I've done way worse.
I know, but just...
I mean, Mike Breen was on hold during Stupidity while I went over to interview Jake Paul. I mean, he thought my electricity went out.
Jake Paul, minus 180. Against Mike Tyson.
Really?
I've been wanting
Tyson.
to bet Tyson.
Big money on Tyson.
Yeah, that line's actually come down. Yeah, last I saw. But you saw now it's a sanctioned fight, so maybe that changes the math a little bit.
It's a sanctioned heavyweight fight, and I did want to ask you about this because I think it's going to be a giant thing. And I've been fascinated by the stuff Netflix is doing. I don't know when this Tom Brady roast is.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
Belichick's one of the roasters.
Is he really?
Yes.
Belichick is one of the roasters.
Yep. Edelman, Gronkowski, Belichick. I think Drew Bledsoe is in there.
This is okay. So now you're putting some expectations on it for me. I hope they don't patriot it by being.
You want Belichick to be?
Well, I mean, they're attempting comedy, right? The roast is a great format. I would love to see what Tom Brady is doing with all of his branding the rest of his career. I've told you guys that I'm fascinated. Like, I'm hugely fascinated by the economy of Tom Brady versus LeBron James. Peyton Manning over here. Hey, let's make stuff. I bet you I can do something late in career where I might be able to make more money than I made playing. Let me make stuff. And you know what else I'll make? A whole lot of money because I'm competing against LeBron and Peyton and all of these guys who are now fighting at the top of sports. These guys, Stugotz, it's so fascinating what's happening in this business. These athletes who have stormed it, all of them realizing, wait a minute, I could just use my fame and a microphone, and Paul George has got something on the side where he doesn't need any media ever again for anything because he's got his own platform and can speak directly to his fans, and he's figured out what Draymond Green has while still playing. Let me go get that money now because holy shit, there's more money after, as Shaq and Barkley will show you, than there was playing.
The athletes don't need us anymore. We talked about this 10 years ago. They don't need us.
So the part that's fascinating about the making of stuff, Jake Paul is the younger version of this. He's just made a giant event in boxing. He created that from the sewer. Like, that's all self-made. That's YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's going to fill a football stadium in Dallas fighting someone, and we're going to watch. And boxing has now become, whether you like it or not, it's circus freak town. This is what we want. Not the boxing fan, not the purist. No, the spectacle. And young person, Jake Paul, about 1,000 miserable, questionable things around him, but very little governance, fights Mike Tyson. And people are going to watch it. And I find it interesting, and I've got a very strong chance of being hugely loud wrong. Because I, wanting to believe in 57-year-olds, because I'm almost one of them, might be underestimating that the betting odds are, hey, Jake Paul's young and strong and kind of a good boxer. But I'm like, it's Tyson. Right. I would not fight him at 90. He could be in hospice dragging a dialysis machine, and he will strangle me to death with its cords.
Well, your logic is winning out, because when this line first opened, it was really inflated in Jake Paul's favor. Super inflated.
This is not just some old guy. This is the 57-year-old guy anywhere in the world whose fists I would fear more than anybody's.